my midst, John Howard, Alexander Downer, Philip Roddick, Tony Abbott. I want to say, let's not prosecute them in Australia, let's cover that up. We don't want a Chilcot type inquiry in Australia like they have in the UK. We want to avoid debate. We want to avoid public exposure of what occurred in Iraq and that unlawful invasion. After 9 years of a fruitless and futile war in Afghanistan, why would you want to expose our involvement in that war? Why would you want to say this war is impossible to win? We are in an intractable position here. We cannot win this war. Why would you want that exposed? Why would you want to have, heaven forbid, transparency and accountability to the Australian community? Well, if you're Julia Gillard, that's the position you're going to take. And her attempts to demonise and vilify Julian Assange before he has been charged with any offence is nothing short of disgraceful. Attorney General who has the temerity to say this person's passport should be seized and he should be prevented from travel, return to Australia, and will relinquish him to the United States for prosecution. Because what we now know, what we understand to be the case is that there's been a secret grand jury indictment in the US as we stand here today, in which it's likely that Mr. Assange will be extradited to the US for prosecution. Now, that's a prosecution that's going to, that is bound to fail. We know that it failed in the Daniel Ellsberg case, in the release of the Pentagon Papers, on the basis of First Amendment freedom of speech. But there's a purpose to charging Mr. Assange and extraditing him, because we want to suppress what he and Wikileaks have to say. And we want to suppress other like-minded people who want to bring Western governments to account for their unlawful wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, where we have a Foreign Affairs Minister who entertains the notion of a possibility of military intervention in China so that we can all be obliterated. They want to suppress public disquiet. And that's why this issue has resonated, not just with progressive causes and progressive groups from the left, or from, dare I say, lawyers, as conservative as they are, but it's resonated through the whole of the community, from every cross-section, from people who have a conservative view of politics to those who have a radical view of politics. I wrote to the great defender of individual liberty, Robert McFarlane, and said to him, a crime has been committed against one of your citizens, Julian Assange, and the crime has been committed by Sarah Palin, the next President of the United States. Her running mate, Mike,
he's a bit shy down,
and other scaremongers and warmongers in the US Republican Party. When we threaten physical or mental harm against an Australian citizen, that's a crime in Australia now. They didn't realise when they passed that law in Australia it had such broad scope. Well, here it is, it's never been invoked before. Invoke it and charge Sarah Palin, Mike Huckabee, and others. Let's abandon our sycophantic and subservient attitude to the US and stand up for ourselves. Transparency and accountability. Thank God we've got people in the Parliament now like Adam Banks and a few others championing the cause of its citizens. Thank you. Thank you all.
That wasn't rhetoric. They should be charged and they should be angry. Our government should be scared. Are we going to keep our government scared? Are we going to answer to the government, or are we going to demand for the first time in this democracy that the government answers to its people? That's the end of our speeches for today, but it's not the end of the campaign. We've still got a fair bit to go. We've got a few people here. How about we go for a march through Melbourne?
They're covering up MK Ultra now.
Where's that?
British Consulate.
The British Consulate. Down on Collins Street. Let's let our mother England know that Australians are no longer fucking convicts. Let's start moving out onto the road. We can get the Australian town truck going down. Come to the meeting if you can on Thursday night and make the government scared. What do we want? Freedom! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Freedom! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Freedom! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Freedom! When do we want it? Now! March!